Hello and welcome to another edition of the Mayor Dan Paletko Show. I'm very pleased to have as my guest the Slater family, who run a great program annually, and it's the Veterans Appreciation Day dinner. And they're both here as my guests to talk about this dinner coming up. It is one of the best events, I think, that are held in the city, and the two of you have worked and put this program together. It's something we all look forward to every year. Give us some details about what's coming up and what the dates are and who you have as a guest.
All right, well this year it's going to be on Thursday, November the 5th. It's going to be at the Stitt Post, which is our annual site now for a few years. And the time is at 6:30 p.m. And the purpose of the event is to honor veterans, and particularly in Dearborn Heights. The Kiwanis Club invites veterans of the city of Dearborn Heights to come as our guest for free and have a dinner, and then we honor them. We have a program of speakers, and we typically have a speaker who is a veteran himself. Mm-hmm. And this year his name is Gary Tanner, and he was serving in Lebanon and also Grenada. Now that he's back home, he serves a very important role in our community in helping veterans that are coming back home to reconnect in the community to civilian life.
Yeah, part of this dinner really, I know for myself, gives me such a great appreciation of what veterans have gone through protecting all of us and our constitutional rights and our form of government, our democracy here. And it's a way for, I think, for all of us to connect, to have a better appreciation of what they have done for us. But at the same time, through your efforts, you're able to thank Dearborn Heights veterans for their service at the dinner. And it's just, I don't know how, in fact, I was going to ask, because how did the idea come about? This is like such a great process. Were either one of you or both of you together came up with the idea?
Yeah, we're sitting in the living room, and Mark said we should do something to thank the veterans, because we're looking for things to do with our club. You know, more things to do. We do that every year. Talk about what the charity things we do and the fundraisers, and then we have new ideas. And so Mark and I were just sitting in the living room, and then he said we should do something for Veterans Day. And I went, wow, that's a great idea. And then he said, we would need a speaker to make it interesting. And I went, oh, I like that idea. Yeah, who could we get? And I said, well, Mark, all my relatives were in the service, and my Uncle Frankie was on the SS Franklin, and he almost drowned. He had hypothermia, and every time he used to call me up, he'd tell that same story over and over again. And so I said, let's just ask him, and he could get a chance to tell his story. Mm-hmm. And he did, and I think that was it was a big thing for him too, to get it out.
Well, I'm so glad the two of you were kind of storming ideas around, because this is really, I mean, I don't know if, I think you probably do, but this really is a great event, and on behalf of all the residents and the veterans of Dearborn Heights, I want to thank you. But I mean, this has really mushroomed into a significant event. I know a lot of the veterans look forward. I had a couple that came in the last week asking me about the particular event, looking forward to it. They've been to past ones. And for those of you in the audience that haven't gone to it, the Stitt Post has one of the best menus, dinners. So I mean, this is like, you get a very good meal, and then you get a very good speaker, and you get a better appreciation. At least I always feel better about our country, about the people who served, after I listen to the great speakers that you have found, and you've had great speakers. So I'm assuming Mr. Tanner is going to be right in line with the rest of them you've had. But I mean, they've had us where we've just been like, we know how the wars came out, but the battles and the stuff, it's just unbelievable what they've told us and what they've gone through.
Then in addition, we have the students coming in for free from Dearborn Heights. So we have every single year, it's 60 students. So they get a chance to listen to the speakers and see what it's really all about. Freedom isn't
Is
free.
that from the history classes, or is it, I know you've had different schools represented. Do schools pick the students, or are they from a class, or
Yeah,
do you know?
Actually, it varies depending on the high school and the year. We're very fortunate to have teachers that will give of their time to recruit the students and to bring them to the dinner over at the Stitt American Legion post. And sometimes it's the history teacher over at this year Divine Child. Mr. Lesnow is bringing the AP history students. And then at Crestwood High School we have Mrs. John who brings a group every year from the National Honor Society.
Okay. But yeah, it's great to see the students there, and it's just such a great program. And I know the veterans appreciate the opportunity to have the dinner. Now, Mr. Tanner, what you mentioned that the Middle East, so it's a more recent. I think in the past you've had Korea War veterans, World War II war veterans. I think this is the first one from the more recent Middle East conflict, right? Because you've had Vietnam veterans too, as I recall, from my era. But so he was just probably, you give us an interesting insight of the Middle East and the conflicts that have been going on in probably Iraq and Lebanon and Afghanistan and that whole region.
Yes, so as you said, a more recent veteran last year was probably our most senior veteran, World War II, Pete Sissoy. When he spoke, he was 92 years old. This year he turned 93, and he's still active. He's been in the same house. There was actually an article in the paper about him not too long ago. He's been in the same house for 80 years.
You know, at numerous sporting events, but one that probably steered to all of our hearts, but the U of M game, they always celebrate a veteran. I think that either happens at the second or the third quarter at the end. Probably the first quarter to third quarter would make sense, the second quarter. But the veterans, and when they read the description on the ships they were in, Battle of the Bulge and all, and to think that they're all in, many of them in their 90s, and there's less and less of them available. But I know one of the things that I got an opportunity to see the World War II Memorial in Washington, and that was very moving. I mean, all my uncles, my father, and so many were in that conflict, and it just is, it's an unbelievable memorial. And when you learn how many people died in the thing, it's just staggering on how extensive that was. And you figure each of those individuals, you know, probably had a unbelievable many stories, not just one story of their service. And that's really what this is, gives us an opportunity to share in on one of those storylines, that personal nature of how people are affected by wars and defending this country. And that's what it's all about.
Yes, that's for sure. And as Carol was saying, one of the, you know, the big themes that we have is bringing in the students. And, you know, many students may have never met a veteran. So it gives them an opportunity to rub shoulders with veterans, see that they're, you know, real people in their own community. And as you said, hear some good stories too.
Yeah, they're just staggering. But yeah, it's a great event. But let's talk, because you're also, this is kind of promoted within the confines of the Dearborn Heights Kiwanis. And I think both of you are past presidents, right?
Yes.
So why don't we maybe take a couple minutes to tell people, because it's a great organization, and many of our organizations, I know people a lot of times, they don't want to join something, but this is a great group. So why don't you tell us some of the good pluses that people might want to join the Kiwanis Club?
The definition is the Kiwanis is a global organization of volunteers dedicated to helping children in the children, one community and one child at a time. And so we have all kinds of fundraisers to get money for their scholarships at Henry Ford Community College. This one coming up, the Goodfellow paper sale, we sell the papers, and so no child, and then the bell ringing, so no child would be without a Christmas. We do that for the Salvation Army. We have our peanut sale. We have our Texas Hold'em. That's our latest one, and that's really a big success. And all that money is just for people in the community, organizations. Mott's Children's Hospital is a big one that we support. Can you think of anything else?
Yeah, another big event. One of the the most popular actually is the annual Easter egg hunt, the citywide Easter egg hunt. We work in conjunction with the Parks and Rec Department, and we hold that over at the Canfield Center, and we'll get 500 to 1,000 kids that come the Saturday before Easter, and we package and have 8,000 eggs that the kids collect up. So that's a really big event we do. And just recently we had an event where we went to Central Park, and we did a paint up, painted the bleachers over there. So we do all kinds of community service, and we invite other people in the community to join us. You'll feel really good about your community and yourself to come out and help in your own community, help children, and also the other events that we do sometimes for adults, like Veterans Day.
But I want to paint a little different picture here. I think the Kiwanis, that you can get good fellowship, make good friends. I've always enjoyed one of the things that spending time with Carol, Mark, both of you. We recently, I was at the installation dinner, so you get good fellowship. It's an opportunity to make some really good friends. I feel the way that you present it, I don't want people to think, oh, I got to go to work. Really, the fellowship and the stuff, and you can, if you want to work on one particular project, work on one particular project. If you want to get more involved, it's available. But the thing I want to indicate to the public, it's an opportunity to have good fellowship with great people, and people who, like the two of you, who have a soft spot in their heart for the community and do good things. But you're good people, the rest of the Kiwanians, you'll have a great time. I mean, people would say like, oh, they go to meetings, that's got to be the most boring thing. But you people have fun at our meetings.
They're not boring.
They're not boring. And so I think that for somebody who's looking for friends, I mean, if you're new to the community, I can't think of a better way to get to know who your neighbors are and other things than to join the Kiwanis. But I think that that's something that I would hope people out there would really kind of consider. And so maybe what we can do, probably the same phone number we're going to give them to buy tickets is probably your personal phone number. So when we show that, if you think you might have an interest, come on out to meet them. But I'll tell you, you're going to have a great time. And so I want to encourage people, if they can, to join the Kiwanians, to become active, because there's a lot of good things that you do. And I think the person gets more out of it than probably even what they put in. But there's nothing wrong with that. And it's not a dull or all work, or it says that you're going to give them a pail and a paintbrush and say, okay, go to. No, you're going to have a great time. They laugh. They're not meetings. It's social. No. It's like a party in a way.
Well, it's a dinner too, because we have our meetings at Leon's on Michigan Avenue, and it's at 6:30. And we have the whole room to ourselves in the back, and it's just a lot of fun, and we have a good meal. And the meetings are the first and third Thursday of the month.
See, I thought they kept you guys segregated because you got too rowdy to the rest of the group, or the whole people in the restaurant wanted to come over and join you guys. But I just think that I noticed in a lot of the service groups, we're noticing, I don't know, we've entered in kind of a stage of people not wanting to become involved. And I really think that they're missing a lot. And the three of us have been involved in a lot of stuff, so I mean, we're even exceptions, but at the same time, I just think there's a lot for individuals, and the stronger these groups are, the more they can do. But I really think that just people who want to have a great time, meet great people, this is a great organization to do that. So I want to put the plug in because I think it needs to be said. But getting back to the dinner, it's at the Stitt Post, and it is on November the 5th. And what does it start? 6:30?
Yeah, 6:30 p.m. start.
Now, do I need to buy a ticket in advance? How does that work? Do you want people to just show up tonight, or no?
No, definitely not, because last year we were sold out.
Okay.
And so we had to turn people away. So I want everybody to call me if they're interested.
And we'll put the number.
313-561-5778. Call me. Dearborn Heights veterans get in free, and the tickets for adults is $18 and $6 for students.
Okay. So the number's going to be shown on the bottom, and make the call. And if you want to try a night with the Kiwanis, you could call also Carol, Mark, and you'll invite them and bring them in as your guests. So that's also available. It's the same number. And the events usually, say, about an hour and a half, 2 hours?
Yeah, the program starts at 6:30, and we're usually done by 8:30.
Yeah.
After dinner and some speakers. It's a very emotional night.
And it goes very quickly. Like you say, it's an emotional night. I mean, I think, there's been some stories and situations described by some of your speakers that was kind of gut-wrenching.
Right.
But war is not a happy subject, but it does, like I indicated at the beginning, you get a great appreciation for what many of these people have been through, that fortunately to keep us all free. But included in that's the dinner, good camaraderie. You'll sit with other friendly people, and but it is important to call, even if you're one of the veterans for a free one. You need to know in advance.
You have to call, because I've got to send them a ticket, and I have to have the count for the hall.
Okay, so that's an important aspect.
Yes.
And everybody, the American Legion is near the corner of Telegraph and Warren. And if you're coming northbound Telegraph, make a right at Warren, and the first right around the Shell station is Waverly. Turn right there, and then a quick left, and it's located right there, Stitt Post. So
easy to find.
Easy to find. You'll see many cars, so you'll know you're at the right place. So that is great. Anything else that we need to cover? We cover everything with the dinner.
Yeah, we've pretty well covered it, and just want to thank you for all your support over the years. We've been having these dinners now for going on 10 years, and there's been great support in the community. And like you said earlier, it's gotten to be a tradition now where, say, last week on Wednesday, Carol and I went to the Stitt Post meeting for October, and we walked in the door, and the veterans, the familiar faces, are excited. They know why we're there,
yeah.
And they're excited to come for dinner and be honored.
Yep. In some way, I think the two of you probably will be recognized. Veterans Day Appreciation Dinner, hosted by Carol and Mark Slater. And I mean, you took a thought, a concept, and you made it into a great thing, and that's just super. And our veterans, thank you. I thank you as the mayor and on behalf of all the residents. Keep up the good work, and those out in the audience, see, you can become the next Carol and Mark Slater, and come on out, try a Kiwanis meeting. Definitely come out for the Veterans Day Appreciation. And thank you for watching another edition of the Mayor Dan Paletko Show.